Hello and welcome back everyone to another video on how to save and load data. In this project we will be using Node.js in Unity. We will be covering the basic login, saving and loading the data and a leaderboard functionality using Node.js as a backend server. We will be dividing the tutorial into steps. Step 1. Setup. For this tutorial we need to install a few things. First is Node.js. It is the engine that the server will run on. Second is Visual Studio Code for writing the logic for our backend server. Third is Postman. This will help us to test our Node.js server. After the installation is done, we need to create a folder where we want our server to be. This folder will have all the server scripts and other packages. We have to open Visual Studio Code inside this folder path. Step 2. Importing modules. We need to create a Node.js project inside this folder. To do this, in the terminal we type npm init-y. Let me explain what did we type exactly. npm stands for Node Package Manager. We use it to install, remove and initialize modules. Init is for initializing a node. -y is for creating a default JSON file with all the basic packages. When we press enter, we can see a packages.json created. Any modules we add to our project will be added to this packages.json as well. Let's start installing modules to our project. First module that we will install is Express. Express is a module that will help us run REST API calls in our project. To install Express in our project, we type npm install express --save. This will make sure that this package is added to our packages.json file. After the installation is complete, we can see that node_modules folder was created, and inside the packages.json in the dependency block, we can see the package name and its version there. This dependency block is very important. When uploading the server online, we upload the scripts and the packages.json file. So if the module file is missing, this dependencies will help download the independent module. Second module that we will install is Body Parser. Body Parser is a middleware to parse data. We will be using it to create JSON data. To install, we type npm install body parser --save. Third module is FS. FS provides a lot of very powerful functionality to access and interact with the file system. To install, we type npm install fs-save. Step 3. Basic logic. We will create a new file and will name it index.js. JS stands for JavaScript. We need to import all the modules into this index.js. We have created a new variable express which has the express module. To import anything in JavaScript, we type require. Let's quickly import rest of the modules. We will create a variable app which will hold all the methods that are available in Express. For server communication, we need two things, a port and an URL. Let's create a constant port with value 4000. You can use any port which is not getting used by any other service on your machine. You need to listen to this port 4000. For that, we will type app.listen and we will pass port number inside it. We will create a callback block. Inside the callback block, we will type console.log server has started. Whenever the server starts, it will listen to 4000 port, and if successful, it will give us this callback. Let's try to get a basic connection from the server. We will try a get connection. For this, we will type app.get. This wants an URL. This URL will be the one that you want the server to listen to. We will be using the default one, which is localhost, and the port is 4000. Adding a backslash is not compulsory as it's just the default path. We will create a callback block with a request and a response. Let me explain what have we just created. Servers work in a very simple way. You try to request certain data, and whatever data is available, you get that thing as a response. Hope I was able to explain you. If you have any doubts, ask me in the comments below and I'll answer them. Let's move ahead. Inside the block, we want to send a response when this URL is hit at the 4000 port. For that, we will type res.send. Here you can send anything like a file or a string. We will send a string saying I am called server connection works. Step 4. Testing our basic logic. First, we need to start our server. For that, we will type node index.js, and as soon as you press enter, you can see a log saying server started. This means the server is now listening to the 4000 port. Let's now go to Postman to test our basic logic. We will create a file in Postman. This tool is very useful and has a lot of features. I cannot cover all of them here, so if you want a separate video, let me know in the comments below. In this video, we will be covering get and post. We will be using a get request. Inside the space, we will type localhost 4000, and when we press send, you can see in the body below, we get a response saying I am called server connection works. If we don't add a backslash, it will still work. Now we can see the basic connection is ready, and now we can work on top of it. Step 5. Login logic. We will create a JSON file called credential. This will hold all the username and the passwords. We create an users inside the initial curly brackets. This will have an array of users. Here each user will have its own curly bracket block. Inside the block we will create a username in the double quote semicolon PTS comma password also in double quote semicolon 123. This is what a JSON file structure looks like. Let's create one more user with username YouTuber and password 12345. We have created an array of users, but how to get this data on our server logic? Now here is where fs module comes in. We'll create file variable is equals to fs.readFileSync. In the parameter we need to pass the path of the file. Since the file is in the same folder, we just pass credentials.json. We will then create a data variable to hold all the values inside the file. We will now create a post call on the server. Similar to app.get, we will type app.post. This will take an URL as a parameter. We will type \login. We will then create a callback block. Inside the block, we have to verify the values sent are correct by verifying them with the values in the credentials.json file. So to achieve this, we will type data.users.forEach. This will return us the item and the index. Inside the return block, we will create a if block to check if the username and password. We will type item.username is equal to request.body.username and item.password is equal to request.body.password. And inside if block, we will send a message to the user as success. For that, we will type res.send success. Now here we will face a logical issue. What if there are 100 users in the data file? Let's say you enter a wrong credential, then it will give you 100 failure response. We don't want to do that, so to avoid that, we'll create a boolean to check login. For creating a boolean, we will type where successful login is equals to false from the start. So when the username and password is correct, inside the if block, we will set this successful login boolean to true. After the for each ends at line 31, we create a if block to check the successful login is false. Then we send a failure message. We will write a console.log which will show us the data. This is just for the testing purpose. When putting this project live, remove this line or else your credentials will be accessible to everyone. Step 6. Testing the login logic. First we will start the server. Let's now go to Postman. We will then switch the request type to post and will go to our URL login. Now we need to pass a JSON object. So to do that, we will go to the body which is below the URL and we will select raw and select the raw object type to JSON. By default it is text, so we need to set it to JSON. So now let's create a JSON body with a username PTS and password as 123. Make sure the spelling is same as the credentials.json user body. So when I send the data, if the values are correct, then I should get success and fail if the values are wrong. When I send correct values, I get success. Now let's send a wrong password and see if we can get a fail message. This is how the login logic is supposed to be created. This is the very basic login and you can create advanced login logic on top of this. Step 7. Submit score logic. For the submit score logic, we create one more JSON file to store all the scores for all the users. We will also use the same file to sort the score for our leaderboard. So let's create a scores.json file for it. Inside the file, it will have an array of scores that the users have created. Let's go back to our index.js file and create a post request. In the URL parameter, we type submit score. Inside the callback block, we will create a local score of the score file. So to achieve this, we type let score data is equals to fs.readFileSync and we pass scores.json file here. Similar to how we read the users, we will create a local scores variable which will hold all the scores from the file. Now we will write the logic to add score inside this file. We type scores.scores.push and we will push a JSON body which has the username and a score in it. We have added the username and the score on the file, but it is not yet saved. To save it, we type let data is equals to json.stringify and pass scores in it. In the line 40 variable, we had all the scores from the file and we have added one more value in the array. But that was not saved on the file. So to do that, we first converted JSON to string. After converting, we write the file with file.writeFileSync Inside the parameter, we specify the file name and the data that we want to write, which is our data variable. Now we will send a success response to this client. Whatever we send here as a response will be used by our Unity project logic as well. Step 8. Testing score logic. For testing, we will go back to our Postman application, and in the post request, we will change the URL. We also change the JSON body that we will be sending. Instead of password, we will be sending a score value. Now when we press send, the value should be saved in the scores.json file. We forgot to do one thing. Whenever we make any changes to the server, we always need to restart it. So I'll quickly restart the server. Let's now go back to Postman and send the data. When I press send, we can see a success message as a response. Let's now check out our scores.json file as well. And as you can see, the values that were sent are stored in the file as well. This is the basic logic for saving any data. You can create any advanced logic on top of this. Step 9. Leaderboard logic. This will be a GET request, so we will use app.get. First we need a URL, so we will pass leaderboard as the URL. Inside the callback block, where all the logic will be done, just like submit score, we need scores.json file data. So we will write the same lines from line 39 and 40. Now we need to sort the entire array. We will use array sort functionality. So we will type scores.scores.sort. The first score is the variable and the second score is the score array inside the file. Sort will take two values, a and b. Inside the block, we will return b.scores minus a.scores. We will then send a response of type JSON with all the scores. Let's quickly test this functionality. Step 10. Testing leaderboard logic. In Postman, we will use the GET request type. We will then change the URL to leaderboard. I will also restart the server, and when I send the request in Postman, I should get all the scores value there on the server. Since I only have one score in the server, I will get that value. This is the basic leaderboard logic. It's time for us to move to our Unity project to write our logic to integrate our Node.js server. Step 11. Unity UI overview. In Unity, I have already created some basic UI that we will be using. When the project starts, we'll have a login screen where user will enter the username and the password. If the credentials are correct, we will move to our submit score screen where the username will be visible and where they can enter their score. There is a submit button to send the score on our server. We also have a leaderboard button. If we click on it, it will take us to the leaderboard screen. In this panel, we will see all the users with their respective scores in the descending format. Step 12. Unity login integration. First, we'll create a scripts folder to hold all our scripts. We'll create two scripts. First is UI handler and second is server logic. Let me open the scripts in Visual Studio. In the UI handler scripts, I'll first create a few public references to the input field, panels and the buttons. They are not supposed to be public, but for tutorial simplicity, I have made them public. We are using TextMesh Pro in our project, so we need to use its namespace. We will create two public TMP input field variable which will have the name username input and password input. These are for our username and password input field on our login screen. We will then create a button variable and will call it login button. We will then create an array of game object that will hold all our screens. We will call this variable panels. For now, we have created all the variables needed for login. We will create more variables as we move ahead. We will then create a private close all panel function which will disable all the panels. We will use a for loop inside the function to disable all the panels. Now we need a function to enable a particular panel. So for this, we create a private open panel function which takes panel number as its parameter. Inside the function, we will go to the panel number index in the panels array and enable it. So when we start the application, we want the login panel to be enabled. So in the start function, we will first close all the panels and open the panel at the 0th index. So let's now move to server integration. For server integration, we need to create a few classes. These classes will have the same structure as the one we are using in the server. Let me create one and I'll explain why it has this particular structure. We will create a public class login data. It will have two public strings. First is username and password. This is because the server has only two requirements. If we had a pin on the server as the third parameter, then here in the class, we would have to create a pin variable as well. I think now we have a very basic idea. It should have the same spelling as the server so that JSON deserialize can also work fine. We will make this class as system.serializable so that we can serialize and parse it to JSON. Okay, let's first now create our login logic. we will create a private void login function, and inside the function we will create a login data variable. Now we want to set the input field values to this variable. So to achieve this, we type login data.username is equals to username input.text. We will do the same thing for password as well. Now let's convert this login data variable to a JSON string. String JSON is equals to JSON utility.toJSON, and we will pass login data here. We are now done with the login UI logic. Let's go to the server logic script to complete the login integration. In the server logic script, first we remove all the pre-existing code. We will then create an instance of this server logic script. Now servers don't give you values the very next second you press the button. There's always a delay between the request and the response. This is the ping value that you see in games. So to make sure the code runs smoothly with the response, we will use enumerators for post and get request. This might not be the best practice, so let me know in the comments below if there is a better practice. So let's continue with our logic. We will create a post request enumerator which will take a string URL and a string JSON as its parameter. For the networks call, we use Unity Web Request. We will type where UWR is equals to new Unity Web Request, and we pass URL and the type of request, which is post. We will then create a byte array of JSON that we want to send. After this, on line 21, we will set the upload handler with the JSON byte array that we want to send. We have completed the request part. Now we write the response part. We will create a download handler buffer. We are then calling the server at that particular URL. We will then create a if-else block for checking the logs. The basic integration is done, but still our UI handler has no idea about the response or what response to begin with. So for this, we will create a delegate. Delegate have a lot of users. In this project, we will be using it for callbacks. We will create a public delegate of return type void and will name it login success, and in the parameter, it will have a string success. So in the post request, we will add one more parameter login success and variable name as login success callback. So now whenever we want to send a callback, we will call this login success callback and pass a string value there. We will do this on line 35 inside the else part where the connection is getting done. We type login success callback and pass uwr.downloadhandler.text inside it. So now wherever we call this post request, we will receive a callback there itself. Now all our problems are solved. So to call this function from UI handler, we will create a public void function called check credential. Inside the function, we will start a coroutine for the post request enumerator. Post request wants a URL, so we will copy the login URL from the postman and pass it as a string. Post request also wants a JSON string. We pass the JSON variable that we will create as a parameter for our check credential function. The third post request parameter is delegate for the callback. We will pass the same login success callback variable that we will create in the parameter for our check credentials function. Now we are done with the server logic for our login. Let's now go to our UI handler script and complete the flow. We will type serverlogic.isInstance.checkCredentials and will pass the JSON string here. It is showing us an error because the check credential has two parameters. The second parameter is very useful to us as it's our callback of success and fail. So for that, we'll create a private void login callback function. Now this function should have the same parameter and the same return type as the delegate that we have to pass. So that we will create a string message as a parameter. We will call this login callback function in the check credential function on line 50. Inside the login callback function, we will create a if-else block. This will check if the message is success, then we move to the next page and also save the username in player pref, or else give a debug log saying try again. Last thing, we need to assign the on-click listener for our login button to the login function. This was too much code logic, so let me quickly explain what is happening and where. When the login button is pressed, we call the login function. We save all the values in the login data variable and convert it to JSON. Then we will call the check credential and pass the JSON to the server logic. Post request will send the URL all the values. If URL is active and responds, then we get a callback. When we get a callback, we come back to UI handler where login callback function is called. Then it will check the callback message, and if message is success, then it will move ahead, or else it will throw a debug log in the console. I think you might have gotten some basic idea of the flow. Step 13, testing logic. Let's now go to Unity and check if the integration was successful or not. In Unity, we will create an empty game object, we will name it UI handler and drag and drop the UI handler script onto it. Similarly, we will create a game object for server logic and put server logic script onto it. Let's quickly drag all the game object references in our UI handler. We will then start our server in Visual Studio Code. Let's now play our Unity project. Let's pass PTS as the username and password as 123. If you remember, we have created a user with this particular credentials. When we press login, we go to the next screen, which is correct as per the flow. We can see when we press correct credentials, we go to the next screen. But what if we enter wrong credentials? Let's try that. When I enter 1 as the password for PTS, I can see a log saying try again. That means we got a failed callback from the server. Finally, we were able to complete the integration for a login with Node.js server. We will move to the next part of our project, which is submit score and leaderboard. This won't take much time as I have already explained most of the core logic in the login part. Step 14. Unity submit score integration. In our UI handler script, we will now create references for our submit score screen. An input field for taking a score and 2 buttons, one for submitting the score and the next one to open the leaderboard screen. So to submit a score, we will first create a submit score class, which will have a public string username and a public string score. Once the class is created, we will then write a private submit score function. Inside the function, we will create a submit score variable. We will set the username and the score in the submit score variable and will convert it to a JSON string. Let's now go to server logic script. We will create an overloading post request function. There might be a better way to do this, but for this tutorial simplicity, I am following this, keeping this as simple as possible. Let's get back to our code and create a public delegate submit score callback of return type void with a string message as a parameter. In the post request function, we will change the callback delegate to submit score callback. We will copy the check credential function and paste it below and change the name to submit score to server. And we will change the parameter and the URL accordingly. Let's go back to our UI handler script, and inside the submit score we will call submit score to server and will pass the JSON string there. Just like login, it will require a callback function, so we will create a score callback. And if the callback is success, then we give a debug log and make the input field empty again. We will pass the score callback function in the submit score to server on line 85. Let's assign the on-click listener of our submit button to our submit score function. Let's also add an on-click listener to our leaderboard button for now, so that we don't forget this in future. Time to test our submit score logic. Step 15. Testing submit score. In Unity, we need to assign all the references in the UI handler script. And let's play the game now. Since the server is already on, we won't face any issues here. Let's log in with PTS. We have not yet configured the username text. Let me quickly complete the logic for it. I'll quickly fast forward this section. Then we will assign the text and play the game. Let's again log in with PTS, and now you can see the username there. We will enter 10, and when we press submit, we can see a log which says score saved. So now we have successfully saved our score on the server. Let's quickly verify it by going to our scores.json file, and there we have our score saved. This is how we save data on our Node.js server using Unity. Let's move to the leaderboard section. Step 16. Unity leaderboard integration. For leaderboard, we will get an array of users and their score. We have to populate this data in the scroll view that we have created in the UI. Scroll view, vertical layout group and other UI components are not covered in this tutorial. So let me know in the comments below if you want me to create a separate tutorial on them. So let's continue with the logic. First, we need to get the reference for the leaderboard item that we have created. This is a prefab that has 2 text components for score and username. The second reference will be of type transform. This is the parent object under which we want to instantiate our leaderboard item with values. So in go to leaderboard function, we will populate the data. But to populate the data, we need the class to store the values. We first will create a class. Also make sure the variable names in the classes are same as the ones we are using on the server. This is so that the JSON utility is able to serialize and deserialize the class properly. Let's create a public class leaderboard data which will have a list of score data scores. It is same as the server. Let's now go to the server logic script. Similar to post request, we will be now using a get request. It will take 2 parameters, URL and a callback delegate. So let's quickly create a public delegate of return type void, and in the parameter it will take a leaderboard data class that we just created. After establishing the connection, we will get a string JSON from the server. So we need to convert the string JSON into a leaderboard data class variable and pass as a callback. We will then create a public void function that we will call from UI handler. This function will only give us a callback when called. We have completed the entire server integration. Let's now go to UI handler and complete the flow. In the go to leaderboard function, we will type serverlogic.instance.getLeaderboard. It is giving a callback, so we will create a private void function leaderboard callback with a leaderboard data as its parameter. We will pass this function on line 97. Now whenever the getLeaderboard function is called, we will get a list of data of all the users. Now we have to use this data to populate our leaderboard item. We will use a for each loop to populate it. So for every score data item inside the leaderboard data.scores, we will instantiate a leaderboard item in the application at the leaderboard parent transform with the username and the score value of that user. There's also a back button in the leaderboard scene. Let's quickly set it up as well. And time to go to Unity and complete and test the last part of our application. Step 17. Testing leaderboard integration. In Unity, we will first assign all the references in our UI handler script. Once all the references are set, we will play our application and will verify if everything is working or not. First, we'll log in and go to the submit score screen. We will then enter 10,000 as our score and submit it. Let's now go to our leaderboard screen. We can see the data being populated correctly. Let's add one more score and retest it again. We can see the leaderboard functionality is working fine and we found a bug. This is because when we go back to our submit score screen, we are not clearing our leaderboard items list. Let me quickly fix it. It is very simple. When we come back to our submit score panel, we destroy all the game objects under the leaderboard parent object. Let's retest the functionality and add 999 to our server and check the leaderboard. Hooray! We got the project working nicely and smoothly. This is how we create a Node.js backend server and integrate it with our Unity project. Thanks a lot for watching and I hope this was helpful to you. If it was helpful to you, let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel for future tutorial updates.